Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to Unity of Northwest Indiana, and welcome to the first Sunday of Advent. This is our Advent wreath, and today I'll be lighting the first candle, which stands for, does anybody know? The answer's in the Advent booklet. Hope and faith. Hope and faith is the first Sunday of Advent, and then we celebrate the themes of, through the next 4 weeks, of peace, love, and joy. So these are qualities within us that we're celebrating, and the idea of Advent is a time of preparation as we move toward Christmas. Just like Lent is the time of preparation as we move towards Easter, this is a time that we kind of gather our thoughts and our energies and get centered. Somebody said, why is meditation so important? Why is being still and listening within so important? And the answer is because God doesn't yell. And that in our world of cacophony, right, that we always get a lot of things, a lot of information, a lot of input. How many of you received about 1 million text messages about what's on sale this week? This past week, right? So we get bombarded. So Advent is a time for us to prepare inwardly to get and remain centered in peace. So I light this first candle for faith. And anything we do, we want to start with the power of faith. And as we sound our singing bowl, I invite you to just take a deep breath. If it feels right to close your eyes, I invite you to do that. Take a moment to consciously gather your energy. Maybe your energy's been going in a lot of places, that's fine. Only take a moment to draw it inward. Get centered in our hearts. And acknowledge yourself for being a person of faith, whatever way that looks for you. Whatever concept of God, whatever way you experience faith, you take a moment to just breathe into that and acknowledge it. And as we hear the singing bowl, I invite you to continue to let go and relax in faith.
Celebration leader this morning. Welcome to Unity of Northwest Indiana. You are here by divine appointment. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. Unity offers a progressive approach to spirituality based on the teachings of Jesus and the power of prayer. We honor all paths to God and share a philosophy that is based on love, acceptance, and peace. As we daily live our unity principles, our lives are transformed. And our announcements for this morning. A Christmas to Remember, Advent 2021. Be sure to pick up the Unity Advent booklet available at the welcome table, containing daily inspirational messages and stories for each day throughout the season. The Prosperous Life 2022. This year, we are asking you to make your commitment to our annual giving program, supporting the expenses of our general operating fund by next Sunday, December 5th. This will empower us to financially plan for our spiritual community in the year ahead. Spiritual Social Action Community Outreach. This is the time of year our Spiritual Social Action team asks for nominations of organizations that support people, animals, or the earth. If you have a particular nonprofit you would like to see considered for our community's support in 2022, please complete a nomination form, also available at the welcome table, and return it by Sunday, December 12th. Angel Tree Christmas Giving. As I mentioned last week, Great Lakes Healthcare Nursing Home here in Dyer is looking for sponsors to make this an extra special Christmas for their residents. Thank you to all who have already signed up to participate. There are still many items needed, so please pick up a printed list of requested items from the individual residents and sign up if you would like to share in this Christmas giving. They are also asking for bulk donations of socks, perfumes, colognes, toiletries, or Dollar Tree items to put into their gift bags. She said they really enjoy the little things. The activity director at the facility has asked for items to be delivered to them by December 14th. So please bring your gifts to the service or out to the offices on the property prior to that date. She said gifts can be wrapped or put into gift bags, but be sure to tag your packages with the number of the resident you signed up for. Together, we can all make this a Christmas to remember. God bless us, everyone. And please remember to silence your cell phones.
And let's please stand and sing our opening song that can be found up on the screen.
Israel, thy Lord to Lord.
us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours, now and forevermore. Amen.
Please remain standing. We focus our energy on the powerful vision we hold as truth for our world. So together, we proclaim our vision for the world. Centered in God, we celebrate a world of love, peace, and abundance for all creation. And we affirm with mind, heart, and spirit our mission as Unity of Northwest Indiana. We are a dynamic spiritual community expressing universal principles and empowering transformation. And we proclaim our campaign prayer with zeal. Centered in God, we affirm the success, prosperity, and growth of Unity of Northwest Indiana. And our unity principle today is number 1. God is all there is and present everywhere. This is the force of love and wisdom that underlies all of existence. Please be seated. Our reading for today, November 28th, 2021, is from the Advent booklet, A Christmas to Remember. And the affirmation is, I remember to stand in the power of my faith. For so many of us, last Advent and Christmas was much different than those of years past. Traditions were put on hold. Most of us were grounded, unable to travel, missing the activities and festivities of a season usually full of bustle and crowds. Last year, we visited over the phone and saw one another on screens. It was only natural to feel disappointed as travel plans were scrapped and we were unable to welcome one another into our homes. We accepted the changes and felt nostalgic for the visits of past years, hoping 2021 would bring a return to the traditions we treasured and the friends and family we missed. The hope that carried us through last Advent and Christmas may have just been a flickering consciousness, a distant light on the horizon that this year would be better. But that hope inspired the faith that life is unfolding in an orderly way, that peace, love, and joy are more enduring than loneliness, disappointment, and sadness could ever be. Faith helped us adapt to a time we never imagined having to live through. It's easy, isn't it, to keep faith in the goodness of God when life is giving us what we expect? Even when we get sidetracked or disappointed, it's possible to imagine coming out on the other side of a breakup, a job loss, or a minor illness or injury. But leaning into faith is especially necessary when tough times just keep getting tougher and the end isn't in sight. This season may not constitute a full return to life as it was, but it will likely start to come close. We have grown strong in the time between then and now. The hope that kept us going this time last year is now faith, a complete knowing that the very nature of life, of God, is wholeness and goodness. This Advent and Christmas season comes bearing an unlikely but hard-earned gift. The more hardships we endured, the longer we waited, the more creatively we coped, the more we grew in faith. Hope was a good place to start, but it could take us only so far. We had to flex the spiritual muscle of faith to see ourselves and one another through. And now we're much closer to the smiles, hugs, and laughter we have longed for. These are the fruits of our faith. And from 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 13, keep alert, stand firm in your faith, be courageous, be strong.
As we move into a time of turning inward, noticing the breath, is a natural way to simply begin to slow down, begin to calm our energy. Noticing the in-breath, the pause, and the exhale. As we focus on some part of the breath, maybe where it moves through your body, releasing tension. We have that built-in ability to turn our awareness from the outer to the inner, from the visible to the invisible. And as we begin to put our awareness on our heart, imagine the heart filling with the breath. We have been granted peace through the awareness of the Christ, the Spirit of God within us. And as we focus on the heart, we bring to our awareness some way that we demonstrate our faith, that we experience our faith, whatever that is for you. What do you have faith in? How does that show up in your life? There are areas you demonstrate a mighty faith. And if there is an area you feel like you want to strengthen your faith, we draw upon that awareness of God within us. And we put our faith in the presence and power that is our very life, our wholeness, our peace. And as we move into the silence and the stillness, we simply relax, move into stillness and inner stillness. Relax into our faith. Believing that with every breath, our faith deepens and our hope expands. And the stillness.
The good news today is taken from the complete works of H. Emily Cady. Faith stems from the Spirit of truth that is ever present at the center of our being. It is intuitive, not dependent upon physical facts or evidence gathered by our senses. As faith is founded upon truth, its action is far greater than that born of intellectual conclusion. Faith is the intuitive channel that always connects the individual with God. And from Mark chapter 9, verse 23, Jesus said, "If you can believe, all things are possible to one who believes." This is proclaimed in the spirit of truth and love. Amen.
Good morning again. There's a story that's attributed to the Native American tradition. You might be familiar with it. It's the story of the two wolves. Some of you have heard of it. And the story is that a grandfather was teaching his grandson about life and how we can approach life. The powers that we have within us to perceive life and to experience life. And he said that within all of us are two wolves. And we could call one the negative wolf and one the positive wolf. And the negative wolf, they're always battling each other. They're at war with each other. The negative wolf is that part of us that is self-centered, selfish, greedy, impatient, insists on having its own way, not only believes it's right, absolutely is certain it's right. So we can recognize that wolf, right? And at the same time, there's another wolf within us, the positive wolf, that is kind and loving and giving and generous and patient and thoughtful and comes from a sense of wholeness, is centered in God, we might say. And we might say it is the Spirit within us, the Christ within us. And so we can recognize this analogy, right, that there are times when the negative wolf is just taken over. And times when we become awake and the positive wolf is taken over. So these wolves are always fighting each other, struggling, and the grandson says, "So which one wins?" And some of you know the answer. The grandfather said, "The wolf that wins is the one you feed." The wolf that wins is the one you feed. And of course, this is a simple analogy, but it's powerful. It says something about our power to perceive life in a certain way and to be a certain way in life. And we can recognize both of those wolves, but every moment when we're conscious and awake, we can choose, which wolf will I feed today? Which wolf will I feed in this relationship? Which wolf will I feed in my work situation? Which wolf will I feed in this conflict situation? Which wolf will I feed? And the one that wins, the one that dominates, of course, is the one that we feed the most. And by feed, I mean put our energy and our focus on and make a conscious choice. Now, before I go further, I want to have some compassion for the negative wolf. The negative wolf within us, right? Why do you think the negative wolf is sometimes petty or egotistical or mean-spirited or selfish or self-centered? Why is that?
Learned behavior.
Learned behavior. Did you see my notes up here? That's exactly right. It's probably what was role modeled, and we take in these ideas without even really thinking them through, because at the time we may not, as we're growing up, we may not have the capacity, but we see things role modeled and we take it as that's the way we be in the world. And so until we can wake up and see, well, how am I choosing to see life itself, to see relationships, to see my role in the world, to see everything, my perception. How is it that then I act out of that? And, many people go through life living out what they were taught, good, bad, or indifferent, without ever taking a look at it and saying, is that what I think and believe? Is that how I want to be? So yes, it's definitely learned behavior. And whenever we're being that negative wolf, what do you think is the underlying motivator or emotion there? Fear. Yeah, so we need to have some compassion for the wolf who is still in learned behavior that isn't very helpful, and that is driven from fear. If we think about when we need to be controlling, when we're impatient, when we're fighting back with somebody about something, can you see that that's often driven by fear? We're afraid we're going to lose something. We're afraid something's going to change. We're trying to control. There's fear. So we can have some compassion and understanding for that part of us, but then not feed it. And so faith, so what does this all have to do with faith? Well, faith is one of our powers, our spiritual powers. The Fillmores put them in the context of 12 spiritual powers. And we can activate our faith toward that which we want to see happen in our lives. So as Charles and Myrtle describe faith, we know this definition very well. Faith is the perceiving power of the mind, how we choose to see something. Do we see the world as a friendly place? Or we look at the news and just go run and hide? Do we see challenges in our lives as opportunity for growth and change and evolving? Or do we just have to battle the world? So faith is the ability to see how we see. Like, how am I seeing this situation? Am I seeing it as potential for good, even though if it doesn't feel good or look good in the moment? Am I seeing it for, can I see and be the presence of God in this experience? Or am I feeding that fear wolf and have to go to war and go to battle? And then faith is the perceiving power linked with the ability to shape substance. And the perceiving power is an ability to shape substance. And what the Fillmores meant by that, I believe, is that how we see things is then how we experience them, right? So if we see ourselves as centered and peaceful and we do the inner work to get there, not just singing Kumbaya and saying, I'm peaceful, when there's inner turmoil or things that we haven't dealt with, but doing the shadow work, the inner work that we need to do, really taking personal inventory. There's many ways to do it. We do quantum living work, which is looking at the world as, where do I still see? I say God is everywhere present, but where's the exceptions in my own mind? And then we begin to experience life as we grow spiritually, as we wake up first and then evolve and mature spiritually. Then we begin to see things as opportunities, even when the appearances aren't fun. And we feed the positive wolf by focusing on what it is that we desire in the world. So what is the good that we desire, not only to have, but what is the good we desire to bring into the world? What is the good? What is the kindness, the generosity, the love? And believe me, if we're opening our minds to that, Spirit will just fill that void. Will just give us opportunity after opportunity to feed that positive wolf and to be the good in the world. Because that's our nature. Our nature, our true nature, not our learned behavior, but our true nature is the Spirit of the living God, is the Christ. And then we draw all unto that. We draw as we grow spiritually, as we evolve spiritually, as we feed that positive or wolf. We draw all people because we're one. Jesus said it like this, if I be lifted up, meaning not Jesus the person, but the Christ within us. If the Christ is lifted up, it draws all people, lifts up all people, draws all people unto me. So one of the ways we can see our faith as a power is Charles Fillmore likened it to electricity. And I like this analogy because when he was working with his healing, he had a skating accident. I talked about that before. Charles Fillmore, one of our co-founders, he had a severe accident where his one leg was shorter than the other. His hip bone was dislocated for years. I know, I can't even imagine. But he worked on that from a young age even, intuitively, and then certainly as an adult, as he learned spiritual ideas, he saw it as electricity. He felt like there was an energy in his body, and he was working on what today they call regeneration, regenerating his limb, regenerating the healing power in his limb. So we can see our faith as electricity. It's an energy within us. And do we put our energy in what we don't want and live in fear? Or do we put our energy in the vision we have, the wholeness, what we want to come forth? I've shared this story many times, but I remember there was a time where I was going to meetings and just had all this angst about going into the meeting because there was this particular contentious person. You've had those in your life, right? She was always at this meeting. And my focus would be, okay, what's she going to do now? What's she going to say now? You know, until it dawned on me, what am I bringing to the meeting? Angst, fear, defensiveness. And so I worked on that and releasing that, literally just releasing that, going, I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm not going to perceive what has happened as going to happen again. You know, we do that as humans. We take the past and put it into the future. Well, they did this before, so they're going to do it again. I've done this before, so I'm going to do it again. Well, we don't know anything about the future. In fact, it doesn't even exist. There's only now and now. So what am I doing with the now? That's why it's called now faith. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the things not seen. So Charles Fillmore saw this as faith as an electricity, and we can look at it too as, what am I plugging into? If electricity runs by what we plug it into, am I plugging into the negative wolf and the fearful things and the anxious things and the running out of like the unconscious, or am I going to plug into the Christ in me? Am I plugging into that person that's got my attention and bugging me? Yes, been there, done that. Remember, we have compassion for that part of ourselves. Or am I taking that plug and plugging it into the Christ Spirit within me? That's how we become empowered in our faith. We choose what we will put faith in. We consciously choose. Will I put faith in God? And another word for God is good. Will I put faith in a good outcome? Will I put faith in that each person has that Spirit of God, is that Spirit of God? And will I practice perceiving that good and keeping our focus and energy? Any motivational speaker or leader will tell you that if we put our focus on what's the appearances, especially if they're appearances we don't like, guess what we get more of? The same. If we always are looking at just what's right there and living and going, well, that's not good enough. Have you ever had these thoughts? Well, this isn't good enough. Well, whether it's your job, your house, your relationship, your spouse, your body, right? We do that. It's not good enough. Not good enough. I'll be happy when? I'll be happy if. Instead of saying, okay, I put my focus on the Christ within me and the outcome that I desire. I put my focus on the Christ within me and the outcome I desire. And then what happens is, it doesn't mean we deny the current experience, the appearances or the things that we have to work through, but we approach them with much more strong, confident power when we want to make those changes or address them. We're not coming at them from fear because we've been feeding the positive wolf. So our work, our opportunity is to, one, know that sometimes we fall asleep and come out of learned behavior. And because that's so ingrained, we don't even know it sometimes. And often it takes a painful situation to wake us up. Have you ever had those moments? I call them dogs, divine opportunities for growth. So we don't like the dogs barking, but can we see, all right, this is a challenging situation, but what is within me is greater than this experience. And I will focus on that which is greater. The Spirit of God within me, the Spirit of love, the Spirit of power, the Spirit of peace, the power of faith. And then we focus on that which we want to create. That which we want to create. I think about when the story of creation, do we think that God created by focusing on the void? Because everything in the beginning was the void. If we look at the Bible story of creation, there's many ideas about how the world is created. But if we focus on what's missing or the void, or do we focus on pure potentiality and the power, the electrical essence of our faith, that we have the power to make a change, and we know where it starts, right here. Isn't it good to know that you have the power to change and you don't have to do it by going out there and changing everyone else and everything else, but by looking at how am I perceiving this? What am I bringing to the table? Am I coming from love? Am I coming from generosity? Am I coming from patience and kindness? Am I coming from my wholeness? And will I bring that to this experience today? So I invite you, if it helps, to take a little Post-it note and stick it on your mirror in the bathroom or on your bedside table and go, which wolf will I feed today? Moment by moment. Or better yet, I'm feeding the positive wolf today. I don't know what anybody else is doing, it's not my business. I'm choosing to feed the Christ within me. God bless you. So before we do our offering, or as we prepare for it, just a couple of reminders. I know it's when we leave, sometimes we're like having a conversation or we get distracted, but I want you to also take a moment to stop by the welcome table. There's lots of good things on there that we want to share with you, lots of good information. So just take a moment to stop by the welcome table if you like. And then also to sign up, as Debbie was saying, for the angel tree and contributing in that way. Or making a recommendation for one of the nonprofits that we can support next year. And also, as Debbie mentioned too in the announcements, the Prosperous Life, that's our program that so many of you participate in, and it's whatever level you feel comfortable, whatever level that you're spiritually guided, whatever wolf you're feeding, whether it's the tithing level or the committed giver level. There's a letter that explains it up there, and that's the form, and we're asking for everyone. We're going to do kind of a ceremony around this next Sunday for those who fill out their forms and make that commitment for 2022. And it's a pledge, so you start it on January 1st. So we're making the pledge now by next Sunday, and then committing to 2022. All right, so it's time for our offering, and we can take a moment to get centered. And I take a moment to acknowledge those that are watching this through YouTube later on. We include them in our energy and our prayers. And so if we're holding our offering in our hand, or if we've already given automatically online, we hold it in our heart. And we hold our consciousness of giving. Do we give from source, from the awareness that we are abundant life, and that we hold that vision and we become that through our actions? So as we hold our offering in our hand, together we share our offering blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give you love and I receive love. Thank you, God.
I now choose God. I now choose God. I choose to obey. I give my heart. I give my life. I give my all to you. I now choose God. I now choose love. I choose to give. I give my heart. I give my life. I give my all to you. I give my all to you. I give my all to you.
We are also acknowledging those who are watching us on YouTube later on, and we're working not to have our backs to people. That wasn't Kathy's fault. It came to our awareness, so we're trying to be more conscious. We're waking up too. So I invite you to. Sorry, I have my back to you. So I invite you to bless these tithes and love offerings with us. Feel that spirit of that electrical spirit of God within you. That is life energy itself. We bless these tithes and love offerings to do the highest and best work of this ministry as we ask and affirm spiritual guidance and wisdom. And as we tithe collectively, we know that it comes back to us multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing so that we can serve in even greater ways. We bless and release this offering with love. And so it is. Amen. I also want to now acknowledge anyone who may be here for the first time, who may be joining us. If you want a welcome packet, you can either raise your hand and our ushers will bring you one, or you can pick one up at the table. I'd like to personally meet you if I haven't already done so, and thank you for sharing part of your Sunday with us. We invite you to come back anytime. Our children didn't have Sunday school today, but we're still going to bless them, so you want to come on up? They're going to stand and bless our children. Come on over here. Come on over them. Cuties. All right. So we're just going to zap you with love together. As a child of God, we pray you'll always shine bright. We affirm you'll be guided by your inner light. We pray that your laughter will never cease and your heart will be filled with inner peace. We pray you discover the wonder of who you are and that your infinite spirit spreads near and far. For all these things you are here to be and do. We celebrate God's love, expressing it as you.